This is Leafs Morning Take with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill.
Now we've got a fight started here right off the bat with Rosehill.
30 minutes of live, nonstop Leafs talk starts now.
All right, Game 5 is here Thursday night at Scotiabank Arena, presented by Botano and Skip. It's the Thursday edition of Leafs Morning Take. Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with you. And Rosie, watching last night's 2 games in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, I just hope that Florida-Boston series goes as long as possible. I'm just saying that because I like hockey. That's it.
That was a wild game. Yeah, we're watching intently because the winner of our series goes on to
I never said that.
Play one of those teams. But how about Marchand in how about that setup? They have a D zone face-off. He gets the puck on a breakaway, 3-2-1, gets the shot off with 0.5 left. If he buries that in Boston to win this series, like how big of a setup was that? And he frickin' missed, and they missed the game too, man. I have a feeling their arses are puckered up a little bit, but we'll see what they're made of. It just shows to show that the playoffs are no joke. It's a brand new season, and I mean, first seeds are getting knocked off all kinds of times, and it's just, there's no guarantees, man, but it's interesting to watch since, hopefully we are the ones that can find a way to move on and play the winner of that series.
Again, this is a Boston team coming off a historical, and I mean historical, regular season, and now they've been pushed to a Game 6 by the Florida Panthers, who had to scratch and claw just to get into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Matthew Tkachuk, dude, like, the guy's an all-time gamer. I love the comments post-game by Paul Maurice. If you're looking for a quote in this league and you're looking for somebody with impact and sentiment, it's Paul Maurice. Like, he's such a vivid speaker, and just the way he spoke about Matthew Tkachuk after that game, it sounded like he was talking about his own kid. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was a big-time stroke-off, but I mean, I don't know. Maurice, he just seems like the kind of guy that you want to play for and go through a wall for. Yeah. And he's been a coach for so long. He knows what he's doing. He's kind of one of those good guys that, he's not a pushover. He's not a super players coach, but he's a guy that their coach, that the team's going to play so hard for and got a reputation for it. And it kind of showed off through that interview. But I mean, how could you not like Tkachuk? The guy is a gamer, man. He just shows up, goes so hard and comes through in the clutch, and a guy that you'd want on any team. That's for sure.
Drags his team through the fight, and so far we're seeing that from a bunch of Maple Leafs, namely Austin Matthews and specifically Ryan O'Reilly. Speaking of which, one of his former teammates coming up in 10 minutes from now, the little brother of Luke Schenn, 2019 Stanley Cup champion Braden Schenn, is going to drop by in 10. But first, I got to tell you to subscribe, tap that like button, leave us a review wherever you're checking us out, at the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. If you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing, at the Leafs Nation 401. Additionally, we're available wherever you find your podcasts. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com for the very latest on all things Toronto Maple Leafs. Thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns. A lot dropping in the chat already. A lot of smoke towards Boston, which we love to see here on this podcast, and also the Florida Panthers. And getting set, pumped up. People are looking to slay that dragon tonight. But what do you think Braden Schenn is going to bring to the table today?
Yeah, his experience, I think he knows a couple of guys on that roster pretty intimately, I would imagine. But, just going through the playoffs, if you win a Stanley Cup the way he has, I want to find out, what the difference is between those elimination games. And obviously, you got to win 4 of them to get to the ultimate prize, and he's done just that. So his perspective will be good, and I imagine he'll stroke off Big Brother a little bit too.
Killer instinct. You can't go wrong with that. And we look forward to having Braden Schenn on the program in about 10 or so, maybe even less than that. But for now, let's get over the boards. All right, some lineup notes since we last spoke yesterday. And we're on the right side of this conversation, by the way. No Michael Bunting, which is the right call. I think you go with the roster that has won 3 in a row, but they did tinker a bit with the lines. You see on your screen, it's going to be a bit different. I think Matthew Knies is going to be in the top 6. So I guess we're seeing why Sheldon Keefe tinkered and threw the lines in the blender so much down the stretch, eh, Rosie?
Yeah, I don't even look at the lines before games anymore. I don't really care. We've seen them all, and it doesn't really mean anything, and not one particular setup has worked for any line or any player or Sheldon Keefe. So I really just don't even look at it. They're going to go out there with, I want to know who's in the lineup, who's not. And throughout the game, it's rare that the lines stay exactly the same anyways. So go with the guys that are hot. And yeah, like you say, they've been mixing it up so much all season long that you know that Nylander can play with this guy and Johnny T can center that crew and he can go to the wing and O'Reilly can play in the top six or the bottom six. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just the personnel going out there and doing their things with their line mates. So yeah, like I said, I don't even pay attention anymore.
Well, if you are wondering, this is what it looked like yesterday. Yarncroke, Matthews, Nylander, Nyes, Tavares, Marner, Kerfoot, O'Reilly, Achari, and then the fourth line stays the same, but pretty much as speculated. Hey, what do you make of the old Andrei Vasilevskiy thing? So we had Derek Lalonde on the show back, I believe, on Monday. The head coach of the Detroit Red Wings spent 4 seasons with the Tampa Bay Lightning. It seems like things are getting a bit pissy and testy with his buddy there, John Cooper, who I don't know if was the biggest fan about Lalonde sharing, some state secrets, if you want to call it that. But from the best of my knowledge, he didn't sign any non-disclosures. But what do you make of that whole situation with John Cooper, Derek Lalonde, and him talking about Vasilevskiy on Hockey Night in Canada?
Well, he came over to the dark side, right? And,
Mm-hmm.
the guys within the game just hate that kind of shit. But I really don't think Lalonde gave out any trade secret that couldn't be figured out
No.
on your own. I mean, Vasilevsky's not playing, his Vezina winning type performance, Conn Smythe winning performance this year in the playoffs so far. Still a good goaltender, but the Leafs have been able to solve him. And yeah, the shots are coming from outside. The tips are beating him. There's talk about his blocker side being kind of his weakness, if you want to call it that. But at the end of the day, that's for people behind a computer like us who want to break it down. And I don't think there's much of that going on in the locker room. Pucks towards the net, get bodies in front, get sticks on, get off, get a jump on rebounds, all that shit. Doesn't really matter who that goaltender is. And, we sit here waiting for the game with nothing else to do. So yeah, we're going to analyze that stuff. So is Lalonde, but Cooper, his comments were true too. I mean, look at some of the goals scored on Vasilevskiy. I mean, traffic in front, tips. You're not a whole lot of guys that can do much about that. Either the tip goes where your body is or it's not. You can't really react to those too much. So maybe positioning, whatever. I mean, yeah, Lalonde's over on the dark side of the media now, and Cooper didn't like it, but who gives a rip, really? The Leafs just need to keep doing what they're doing.
I thought Vasilevskiy had a great quote about buying X-ray glasses to be able to see screenshots. Because I think the Toronto Maple Leafs done a great job of getting bodies in front, and I think any goalie, it's going to be difficult. I know it's being overplayed a bit about Vasilevskiy and his struggles, and rightfully so. But I think the Leafs deserve a lot of respect. So with that in mind, what are some of the keys you're looking at tonight, Rosie? For me, one of the big things is, and I know it's so cliche, we talked about this yesterday with Frankie Corrado, start on time, right? The team to score the first goal in each of the first 4 games is 3-1 so far. The Leafs changing that back in game 4. But what are your keys to victory today?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, what team's going to show up? And we've talked, it's kind of a Jekyll and Hyde situation with these Maple Leafs. And to be honest, for the position that they're in, they haven't been playing good enough. You can't continue to get absolutely peppered, have your ozone time negligible compared to your D zone time. Your puck possession time is, I haven't even looked at these numbers, but it's just the eye test watching the game. It's just the ice is tilted. And while they're doing a pretty good job defensively and they're not getting absolutely peppered, they don't have enough jam, especially to start the games. And you want to start with the momentum. You want to start in control. You want to get the puck in their zone and control it down there, get some shots, get some chances. And of course you want to get that first goal. So, I mean, their start is absolutely huge. And to be honest with you, the last few games, they haven't done well with that. So again, you got to figure out what that game 2 start was and bring that mentality to it. Forget about what type of game it is. Forget that it's an elimination game. Forget the extra, electricity in the air, because everyone in Toronto knows that you could win a series there. And, that hasn't served them well very much in the past. So you just got to stick to your routine, get those pucks to the net, get traffic in front of Vasilevskiy, and just work your absolute nuts off. It's an elimination game. It's not going to be easy to win.
Who does the extra day off favor in this scenario? I think it probably sides with Tampa, having said that the Leafs are feeling so good about life, back-to-back victories. And this time of year, everybody seems to be banged up. But who does it favor, in your opinion?
I don't think either one of them, to be honest. I mean, Tampa is not pleased at the position they're in. They're probably chomping at the bit to get another crack at it, but they got to wait an extra day. Toronto, maybe they get to, savor it an extra day, but does that hinder them or does that favor them? Neither nor. At the end of the day, it just depends what that group does within their locker room, whether they got an extra day or not. They need to prepare, and the only thing that really matters is tonight and how they show up and their mindset when they step on that ice for the first shift, and how every line that goes out for their first shift, how they can handle that and bring the momentum in their favor and start properly, right?
Yeah, because I think it's way different in this scenario. More times than not, I would be like, yeah, it favors one team or another. But I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, it's not like they can be overly happy about the way they've played, right? They're up 3-1 in the series, and that's the best part of this conversation. But to me, it's the cherry on top that they're up 3-1 in the series and have yet to play their best game outside of game number 2 of this series, right? So I think we're looking for that response. We're looking for that complete package type game. And if they do that, they just need one out of the next 3, and hopefully it's tonight. Again, you don't want to get to a 6 or 7, but I think that's the positive, optimistic outlook I'm looking at, is that they've yet to play arguably their best game in the series, right?
Yeah, and yeah, that maybe that extra day favors that. They get an extra day to, go over what's happened. What have we done? What does this look like to not start our best? And it's kind of odd for a team to be in that position, up 3-1, and then not really talking highly of your play, right? But at the end of the day, I think that's a good thing. It's better than getting too high on your horse and thinking that this thing's finished. And I think they're smart enough in that room to have their heads anywhere near that thought. So this is going to be a really tough game to win. And if they have another game where they're not totally playing their best, they're just going to lose it, plain and simple.
We saw Alex Kerfoot step up massively last game, scoring the OT winner. He hasn't really been around all series long. Are there a couple other guys that you have in mind to say, hey, we need that big time play? Because, the unique thing about this Leafs team this year is they have insane amounts of depth. It even goes back to training camp where Wayne Simmons said pretty much this is the deepest forward crop he's ever played with and played on. And so I think with that in mind, I think you look at a series like this one, these guys can be difference makers, right? You look at Noel Acciari, a couple goals, and also a guy like Alex Kerfoot stepped up.
Yeah, and I mean, stepped up. Well, I mean, you get your stick on a puck and you're there at the right time. Okay, it's a split-second thing that goes your way. It's not like, oh, he's here, he's taking the reins or any of that shit. That's just over pumping something that happened. But at the end of the day, you got to have the personnel that when that opportunity comes, they're capable of making the right play and getting it done. And that's what Kerfoot did, and credit to him, and he needs to keep going. I'd like to see Mitch Marner kind of take control of a game, where you see him, he's just on fire. He's just getting so many shots, so many opportunities, swarming that net. He's burying the big goals, and he just won't stop. I want to see him with his foot on the pedal tonight. Auston Matthews. Again, everyone that's had a good game and their numbers are good, it just hasn't been at the start of the game. I want someone to step up at the start. It seems like they're always playing catch up this series, and it's worked out for them for whatever reason, but it's not going to continue. I don't think. Like I said, this is a game that's going to be tough to win, and you're going to have to start good, be on your game, control the momentum, fluster that team over there in the Tampa Bay Lightning, and not let them do their game plan out there, because they're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at you. They're going to be desperate. They know what's on the line. And if you're not there with all cylinders firing, you're not going to win an elimination game.
Weather the early storm. There's no doubt about that. And Maple Leafs Nation is prepped and ready for Game 5 tonight. Brought to you by our new friends over at Skip. We're happy to tell you about Mitch's Dishes by Skip. Using the promo code TLN15 in the Skip the Dishes app, you get $15 off when you spend $30 or more on Mitch's Dishes. Please note this offer is exclusive to Skip. Additionally, a portion of the proceeds will be donated to the Marner Assist Fund to combat food insecurity. Skip is currently serving up game time meats across the GTA and Ontario in the likes of Brampton, Guelph, Kitchener, Toronto, Oshawa, and Waterloo, among other great places. If Mitch likes it, it's got to be great.
Did somebody say Skip?
We got to get you in a commercial with Katy Perry, by the way. But let's bring in our guest, Rosie. You do the honors, bud.
The miniature human eraser himself, Brayden Schenn, is he with us right now, or is he probably just on the 10th tee box right now, quickly throwing in an interview here?
That's tomorrow, Dozer. That's tomorrow.
Atta boy. Good to see. Good to see. Brayden, thanks for joining us. What are you thinking about your big brother kind of leading the charge and, really being a part of this little series they got going on? They're leading it right now. It's exciting times. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a good series. Thing is, it's like crazy games too, right? It's just not boring hockey by any means. You got guys fighting each other and big comebacks, and I know it's been one of the best series so far. Maybe that's biased because Luke's on the ice or whatever, but just enjoying it, and it's been a good series, and hopefully they can close it out tonight.
Braden, thank you so much for joining us. You have much better internet than your brother, by the way, although the second time he was much better, but we did it on Zoom. Is Luke playing the best hockey of his career right now? Like, he's been so impressive the last couple games and pretty much ever since joining the Leafs.
I mean, to call it best hockey of your career, no, but I think he's in a better spot than he was, 5-6 years ago. If you look back on where he was driving back and forth between San Diego and Anaheim there, wondering, if he was going to keep, playing hockey and the story's been out or whatever. And, Adam Oates is obviously a guy that really helped discover or reinvent the wheel for him. And, just kind of, he's always, a simple player. Plays hard. I think he's really, handles the puck better now and make better plays. And he's always obviously had the element of being physical and, sticking up for teammates. And I think that's what the Leafs obviously need. They brought in a bunch of guys that are willing to do that. And they knew it was going to be a tough, hard series. And, I'm glad to see him playing well.
Brayden, being a Stanley Cup champion yourself, I mean, elimination game tonight, you got to win 4 of those to win the cup. You've done that against, more and more difficult teams as you go down the road here. But what's the difference in a game where you can close a team out and the team on the other side there is, got their back against their wall and the season's on the line?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Even look at the game last night, right? With Florida not going away, against Boston, and guys don't want their seasons to be over. They don't want to be doing kind of what I'm be doing right now, anyways. And that's from watching from the outside and on your couch and stuff like that. So, obviously, I think even the Leafs probably have it more just with the pressure and expectations of how many years of being not winning a first round series, and they're in the driver's seat right now and up 3-1. So like I said, hopefully they can close it out, but that's a team over there that knows how to win clearly and got one of the best goalies in the world, if not the best goalie. So it's gonna take everyone's A game and that's what you need to win. It's going to be tough. They got guys that know how to get the job done in closing games and stuff like that. So looking forward to see what kind of team comes out tonight.
So obviously the last couple of days, Braden, Rosie and I have been talking about killer instinct and belief. Even looking back to 2019, that story and that journey for your St. Louis Blues team was absolutely epic, as we know, from where you were maybe at Christmas time to where you finished off. Belief, like when did you guys start to believe? When did you individually start to believe that your team had a chance to go all the way that year?
I think ours started earlier. I'm not talking around Christmas time when we're in the worst team in the league, but you just start to catch momentum. I think we had an 11-game win streak, and you're beating everyone, beating good teams. And at that point, you feel like you got something. It's kind of caught lightning in a bottle, and we got a close team, and guys are excited to play for each other every single night. And going into the playoffs, we had dinner there. It was unbelievable for us in Winnipeg, and then Game 7 in Dallas. That one obviously, or against Dallas, that one could have gone either way. And even when you get to the Cup Finals, you have to win Game 7 in TD Garden. It's obviously a tough task, and we were able to do it. But it's obviously it's the best time to be a hockey player. Whether that's junior hockey or midget AAA or NHL, it's playoffs, and that's what you want to play for every single year is a championship.
Braden, in addition to this Leafs roster, obviously Ryan O'Reilly, you know him intimately. With the cup run that you guys went on and the championship you won with him at the helm there. But, for a guy who can win a Frank Selke award and as the best defensive forward, he's a captain of a team and then wins a Conn Smythe on top of it. Bring your perspective on what that guy brings to a locker room in a playoff run like this.
Yeah. I touch off the ice anyways. Off the ice, it's funny. He's a guy that can be super serious and put his headphones in and dial it in before a game. Or if you get him after the game having a beer or, between games, day off between games, he's tons of fun to be around. And then as well as he holds guys accountable. He's not afraid to say things when things need to be said. Obviously that comes with learning over his years, and a guy that's almost played 1,000 games and kind of done what he done. He was an honor to play with for sure. And then on the ice, you see what he does. He can play anywhere in your lineup. You can play anywhere pretty much on your power play, whether that's bumper, net front, or half wall, PK, big face-offs. And he's one of those guys too, not physically, but he drags you into the fight. He drags you into the fight, into the battles, kind of forces you to kind of play a hard game with them. And you see, with him and Chari and stuff like that, they're doing that right now and getting rewarded.
Yeah, I was going to ask you as well about Cookie Nola Chari. I said at the time, I love the factor, man. I love the pickup. He's been incredible for this team, but I thought the hidden gem of that deal was Noel Acciari. Just sort of the physical nature, the pugnacity. He's got 2 goals in the series. Like, he seems like he brings the intangibles to the table. And again, you've been part of a team that has won a Stanley Cup. How bad do you need guys like Noel Acciari on your team?
I mean, just playing against him in Boston when he was there, he's just like, he's big. He's not, I mean, he's thick and he's physical and he's hard to play against. And then playing him with this year, he's just like, great guy, quiet, goes about his business, solid team guy. Can never tell if he had a good game or a bad game. He's just kind of the same type of dude in the locker room. And, then on the ice, he just hits everyone in sight, blocks shots. He does little things, wins his battles, good on the wall. That, little things that you need to go deep in the playoffs and win. And, guys like that are special to play with. And you always want guys like that on your team.
And to wrap, I always wondered, like, how
superstitious.
Go ahead, Rosie. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna we're talking about your big brother so much. It's I feel like a bad host here. We got to talk about the index. What kind of rounds you putting out there? You putting up some numbers, draining any putts, Brayden? I mean, what's going on?
Dose train. My game's not where it needs to be right now. So played not too many. Got a little one now, but I played 4 or 5 rounds. I went up with a few guys. Went to just outside of Nashville. Golfed a few times. Golfed a couple times in St. Louis, and playing here a couple times. So I'm in Florida right now. So hang out and the game's not. It's not the Doze Train's game. I know that. He's not going up and down from everywhere around the greens.
You got silky mitts like you do with your hockey gloves on.
I don't know. Hey, Nick, you probably don't know this. Nick, you probably don't know this, but Dozer lived on my couch always before Philadelphia training camp. And family used to stay home, and while training camp was going on, he used to live with me, hang out. I don't even know what we used to do, like watch U.S. Open tennis at night. We'd golf every day. And then he would just eat Chipotle for about, 21 days straight. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Just never got sick of it. But yeah, me and Doze used to live together there for
Chipotle runs.
yeah. So we had a good time back in the day.
It reminds me, we were in Edmonton a month ago, and this guy had to go to a fucking Subway. I don't know why, but we found a Subway because we had to be at the bar at 9:15 Edmonton time when I was like, let's go at 11. Let's go for a nice dinner. So this checks out for sure. It does. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Small town kid, eh?
Oh, God.
Hey, is Kelsey going to make an appearance? Is she back there?
Here we
is
go.
She saying hi? Or
she's at the pool. I don't even know if she knows the Leafs are in the playoffs right now. She's probably about the only person in North America that hasn't been watching the series. But no, she's rooting for Luke, obviously, and just as a family, you know how hard it is to win. And I think even on top of it, the magnitude of what the Leafs have on them right now, they got a good team. It's hard to win. That East it's anyone's ball game right now that can go to the Cup Finals. So, like I said, hopefully Tampa can close it out tonight. Tampa. The Leafs can close it out tonight and beat Tampa. Yeah. But no, I think it's going to be a good game. Game 5s are tough, and especially when the series is on the line.
We have the Schenns covered on this show, but unfortunately, Rosie's favorite player on the Maple Leafs is Ryan O'Reilly. We're going to have to tell you off the air why that is the case, unless Rosie wants to say it right now.
He knows why.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. Back in the day, I think he posted it too, right? He
oh my God,
signed a stick for you guys.
Oh yeah. He signed a stick for my kid and was ripping my shitty hands on my kid's thing. Just totally ruined the experience for both of us.
Yeah. No. Honestly, it's watching the Leafs is I think just because you played with O'Reilly and Acciari, and you definitely wish they were still in the St. Louis Blues right now. But adding Luke, obviously, there's a lot of guys to watch. And Mitchie Marner was my roommate at World Championships one time, so I know him a little bit and had fun with him. I think he was 19 at the time. So, some guys along the way. And, obviously, if there's one team to root for, it's the Leafs because Big Bro's on it.
We love it, Braden.
Love it.
Jump aboard, man. We got plenty of room on the bandwagon. Appreciate your time today. We'll talk soon. You're a gem.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks. And, we'll chat soon.
See you, Brado. Thanks, buddy.
See you, boys.
I love that. Threw you onto the bus, man. There you go.
Nothing wrong with Chipotle.
Although it's
got all the nutrients you need.
Is that your favorite go-to spot, Chipotle?
It's not even close, man. It's so fucking good when that sour cream and that green hot sauce, and it's the best. I was it was more than once a day, quite a bit, and it was right down the
Yeah.
street, and I was bacheloring it, so pretty easy decision.
Yeah,
And
I still have
pregame
vivid
once in a while.
memories of. I don't doubt it for a second. I still have vivid memories of our date to Subway there. Not to give Subway too much exposure on this show, but you had to get the Subway. Do you remember going into that Subway? How they had the doors locked and we had to get them to unlock them for us?
Yeah, because we looked homeless, I think, but that was after a good day shift we already had. Went home for a nap, and we're
Mhm.
heading back out. Shit.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes when you and I get together. Anyways, the Botano wrap up is presented by Botano.ca. The game starts now, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. And so, unfortunately, Rosie, you didn't hit yesterday, but you were on the ball, man. It was 1-0 in that game. Allmark made some great saves. Bobrovsky made some saves. We had the over 1.5 in the first period, didn't hit. So I'm going to try to start a new streak tonight. And again, I'm playing with fire because the over has just gone far and above everything so far through the first 4 games of this series. But I'm hoping things stay in course with last season, where things really tightened up in game 5, game 6, game 7. Hopefully it's only game 5 tonight. But I could see a scenario where Vasilevskiy shows up, Samsonov shows up, and we see like a squeaker 3-2, 2-1 type game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it could be a 3-2 final pretty easily. These elimination games, teams are going to play smart and tight, and every little opportunity and every little loose puck is going to be, paramount. And I think guys are going to be going full tilt, and they'll be tightening things up a little bit. So that line's decently high too, 6.5. I think it could be nice to, maybe even a 4-2 win, empty netter, that kind of thing. So.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it. And minus 102, you're getting some value out of it as well. So yeah, I don't know. My play was hitting like crazy, and of course, when I go live on the show, it's a 1-0 period. These things happen, but don't forget about that play either, guys. It has been hot.
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy last night where through the first 4 games of every first round, I'm just on complete fire and then it goes to shit. And that's exactly what happened last night. I missed on both. I had Boston in regulation. I had Colorado puck line. I had puck lines everywhere and they just all went to shit. But it happens when it comes to the world of betting. Let's get to the chat. Colin writes in, a goal from Camp would be sweet. Man, in a perfect world, that fourth line, just to score another goal at some point in this series, I think puts this team over the top. We talked about it going into this series, right? Depth players, the power play, I would say check for the power play so far. They've done their job. It's that extra 1 or 2 goals that honestly can put a team over the top in a series. No?
Yeah, and that David Kampf, I mean, he was chipping in on big games and big
Yeah.
goals down the stretch there, and it's not every night, and you're not calling for him to do it all the time. But what it is that one little slippery play where they happen to be on the ice and catch a team at the end of their shift or whatever, and get the puck to the net and get some traffic or get a tip on one, and one of those big goals from a guy like him would be fantastic. I'm also looking for Matthew Knies to maybe get his first one. I think that would be a huge time to do it in Toronto in an elimination game. He's been buzzing and playing with those big boys on his wings there. Pretty neat. So yeah, a few storylines here, but at the end of the day, it's got to be a collective effort where they all have the same mindset, mentality, and confidence, and they go into this game guns a-blazing and just shut the door on this goddamn team once and for all. And that's what they got to be thinking here right now going into tonight.
Astute point by Michael. Samsonov 19-3-3 with a 1.9 GA at home this season. Remember all season we talked about the home record for Ilya Samsonov? Now's the time, I think, to flex your muscles.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Yeah, good number to have. It's different in the playoffs. I really think it's different, but whatever it is, it's nice. It's better than the alternative stat line if it was the reverse. So, yeah, lots of things to be happy about. But again, they just it's almost like a good thing they haven't played their best hockey, and they're in this position because they're due to play their best hockey. And if they do, I think they're going to take this game and take this series. But it's going to take nothing less than that.
Producer Alex had a poll up. Would you play bunting? Unsurprisingly, 87% said no. 12% said yes, I get it. We'll see bunting at some point in time. And it's funny, like Frankie Corrado nailed it yesterday. He said Sheldon Keefe would have that chat, said, you're important to this team, but we need you to sit. That's your sacrifice right now. And that's essentially what they said through the media yesterday. And we all got it, right?
Yeah, they did the right thing. I know the right thing. They did what we thought they were going to do, what we hoped they would do. And I wasn't sure if they were going to do it, to be honest. I hoped they would do it. I wasn't sure if they would. And it was nice to see they did. I think it's the right call. It makes complete sense. And like we've talked about, some of the lineup decisions haven't made total sense to some people. But again, we're not the one at the helm of that game and or of that team. So, you just sit back and make your predictions, and whether they come true or not, it's pretty all you can do, really. But to have him sit out makes total sense. I thought the numbers of people thinking he should go back in would be a little higher, but it looks like the consensus was we got to keep the lineup the same. And, he'll obviously get back in there as if the games keep rolling on.
And feeling optimistic and positive for Game 5 tonight. Again, if you haven't subscribed, you're watching right now, pound that like button first and foremost. We've got like 1 billion people watching, only like 30 likes. So pound that like button for the Leafs for a Game 5 victory. And if you're not subscribed, at the Leafs Nation 401, at the Leafs Nation 401, where you could subscribe here on YouTube. Leafs Morning Take, where you can search the show wherever you find your podcasts. And Rosie, you won't be with us tomorrow, but 3 Hits with Rosie. It's going to be a winning 3 Hits with Rosie tomorrow, right?
Oh, I'm going to be honest. We're going up for a tournament, and we're going to be in the mountains, and I'm going to be listening on Sirius XM during the drive. And if they win, I'm going to put together 3 hits and maybe be a couple of drinky poos deep there, Ricky.
I like
so
that.
Pay attention for that. I hope I'm in a good mood. That would be ideal. Fuck, it'd be nice to get the monkey off the back tonight and move on, shed all that BS, get it behind you, and focus on the next round with a little bit of rest too is exactly what that team's looking for. But man, I'm excited.
Yeah, let's get after it. So Rosie will be back at the helm on Monday. But again, 3 Hits with Rosie is coming up tomorrow. Thanks to Brayden Schenn, St. Louis Blues forward, 2019 Stanley Cup champion, for dropping by, talking about little brother or bigger brother Luke for a bit here on the show. Always appreciative of the Schenn's time, plural, throughout the season. For producer Alex and Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. Thanks so much for listening and watching. Go Leafs, go! General Hospital, baby.